I recently created a video on loving what we wear, on loving what you buy, and how we should value our clothes rather than buy things that we don't care about and that we end up just getting rid of. And so since I created the video, I've just been thinking about it, just thinking it over in my mind, and it occurred to me, we live in such a throwaway mentality. Like, we have such a throwaway mentality in society that we're living in at the moment. And I started to wonder to what extent impulse buying affects the way that we shop and the way that we feel about the things that we buy. When I thought about this, it made me think that for some people, impulse buying might actually be the only way, or at least the main way, that they shop. We live in a society now where, before, in my parents' age, they always talk about it. When my parents were younger, they always had to save up for everything. If they wanted something, if they were prepared to actually spend their money on something, then they probably really wanted it. And it meant that they would need to save up for it, because they couldn't just, they couldn't just borrow money or get a credit card. Those things just weren't available. You couldn't do it then. So it meant that they had to actually save up for the thing. So during that time, they had so much time to really think about whether or not they were really committed to it. Because if you didn't really want the thing, there's no way that you would put that time and that effort into actually saving up for it. You just wouldn't do it. But now, the way that the fashion industry works seems to have changed. Everything is just so quick. Everything is flipping over all of the time. We have clothes by season, but I feel like now, with some of the fast fashion stuff, I feel like there are even different time periods within that, and it's gotten smaller and smaller. We change our clothes so frequently, and it's just something that wasn't the case before. Obviously, slow fashion has become a lot more talked about now as well. And I don't know to what extent the population actually, everyone goes by that. I don't know what the percentage is. But I'd really love to know how you feel about it and what you think from your own experience. If you're watching my videos, and it might well be that you feel the same way that I do about, the way that you buy clothes and trying to buy things that are of better quality and that are more likely to last. But I would love to know how you feel about it, and also, your own experience in terms of the people, in terms of what you've seen in your own lives. I think because fashion happens so fast now, that sales have become a really common thing. And I remember when I was younger, I feel like sales were a much more special thing, that they would only happen at certain times of the year. And I think that is still the case with a lot of brands, but at the same time, it's quite common to be walking down the street. Obviously, none of us are walking down the street at the moment because of coronavirus, but apart from that, before all of this, it was very normal to be, to walk down the street and see so many, several shops that have sales at any given time. So that, I think that's a huge thing that might have contributed to the changes in the way that we see clothes and in the way that we shop, because cheap clothes, disposable clothes they're so much more readily available now. And I think as well, if everything's about sales, and if we always know, think about it this way, if we always know that there were going to be sales somewhere, then it can be very easy for us to think that that's the best way to go about it, that's where we should shop, that we should always buy clothes that are on sale because it's always possible to get those somewhere, and so hence it's cheaper. But that means that if that's how we're always going to live, if that's how we're always going to buy, then everything that we do buy is always going to be impulse buying. Because if something is on sale, there's always that, I'm not going to call it fear, but there's always that knowing that it might not be there tomorrow. Like, it's on sale today, but it could go back up to full price, or more likely, it's just going to be gone. So if we're always going to try to buy sales and buy things that are cheaper, and buy them when we see them, like we walk into a shop and we see, oh, look, there's a sale on what's cheap, then the likelihood is that the way that we think about it, like our mindset is going to tell us that we always need to buy those things now. So then impulse buying just becomes normal. This has all got me thinking about like how we really think about sales and cheap clothing. And I mean that used to be me, so I completely understand it. I used to, when I was pre-teens, when I was in my early teens, I used to go shopping with my mother, and we would see all of these things that were so cheap, and the thought that I could have all of these new things just felt really amazing. So I do completely understand that. I understand how people feel. I've always understood the thrill of the sale, because if anything, I've always been very good at finding things for cheap. So I do understand the thrill of it. I get that. But it's made me think, I think that we feel really good when we buy something that's on sale, because we feel good when we're spending less money and when it's cheap. Firstly, because it's better for our pockets, I suppose. But I think secondly as well, it's like we feel good about it. We feel like we've done a moral thing. Like we feel like we've been less materialistic, I think, or something like that, because we've bought these things for cheap. So, we haven't gone out and spent a load of money on something, and we feel good about that. And, I think that that's something that we really need to question. In terms of saving money, I think we actually have to ask ourselves, are we saving money? Because I know that some people don't spend a lot on clothes. They don't buy clothes very often, but there are definitely some people who do buy clothes very frequently. And I think, if this is you, I think that you need to think about, how are you actually saving money in the long term? Like, you feel good at the time and you feel like you're saving money. But if you're spending £10 here and £20 here and £8 here and £5 here, you might not actually realise, the extent to which it builds up. And then those clothes aren't necessarily the ones that you keep. They're not the ones that you really love, and they're not really special. So in the end, you end up getting rid of them, and then you have to buy more things, right? So I'm wondering, and it won't be the case for everybody that they're saving money, but I would like to know, because I'm sure that for some people, if they actually counted up how much they were spending, that if they bought a lot less and just bought what they actually needed, and bought the pieces that they really wanted, that were really meaningful to them, that they were prepared to wait for, so by that point they knew that they wanted them, it could end up that you're saving money. And I definitely think that it would be better for the environment, because you're not getting rid of all those clothes. So I think it's really worth asking ourselves, could I buy something that's maybe a bit more expensive and buy less, just buy one thing instead of however many things on sale I might be tempted to buy, that will actually last me longer and that I will care about a lot more? And again, I'm not saying that sales are bad. Sales aren't bad at all. And, I love shopping. I love sales shopping, as much as anyone else. But I think, there are a few other ways that you can do it. Either if you see something on sale, then you can be prepared to wait and see what happens and see how you feel about it. And if you're worried it's going to go, then, you can at least wait a few days and see if you even remember it, and see how you feel about it then. And another way that you can use sales is if you know that certain brands or stores have sales. Obviously you might not definitely be able to get it, and you never know for sure whether something is going to come down. But I think that something else we can do is just wait and see whether it comes down. And then whether it does or not, at least we know how we really feel about it by the time it either does or doesn't. So what can we do to try to replace our impulse buying? Well, I think the most important thing is to actually reconnect with ourselves and figure out what it is that we care about, what it is that we care about when it comes to our clothes. So, different people value different things, right? So some people value quality, some people value creativity, or something that looks really different, or you might value comfort. There are so many different things. For me, I value something, I value things that are creative, that are different, that are unique, things that really stand out. So that's always what I would try to go for. And if I'm tempted now to buy something that's not that way, then I really have to stop and think about how much I'm going to use it and why it is that I want it. I think we've all experienced buying something. We think, oh yeah, that's really great at the time. And we get it back. And not only is it maybe something that doesn't matter to us that much, but sometimes it's something that really stands out to you for whatever reason. It might even just be the price, and then you get it back and you never wear it for a specific reason. So either you don't wear it because you're not actually comfortable in, or you feel like it's too short and that makes you uncomfortable, whatever it may be. But I think we've all done that. We've thought this piece is really, really great, and then we get it back and there's like a really specific reason why we never ever wear it. So let's swap impulse buying habits for something else. Let's swap them for buying thoughtfully. If you liked the video, then please leave me a comment or go over to my Instagram and you can leave me a comment on there or follow me on Instagram. I leave my handle down there. And also, if you'd like to see more of my videos, then please hit the subscribe button and I will see you soon with a new video.